Dark Myth Wukong, Chapter 36, Primeval Purifying Light. As Sun Wukong stepped into the Ice Demon Tower, he was once again stunned by the sight before him. The space within stretched for countless thousands of miles, yet the entire central area of the tower was empty. Looking up, 1,000 miles above was a ceiling, presumably the second floor. But the scale was immense. Sun Wukong was convinced this Ice Demon Tower could easily encompass the entire Flower Fruit Mountain. Not allowing Sun Wukong to remain astonished for long, the Water Tribe member waved, signaling him to follow. Then, he proceeded up an ice staircase beside the entrance. This ice staircase was embedded into the tower wall, twisting and turning, composed of countless steps. After walking for about an hour, Sun Wukong silently counted. They had reached the 49th floor. Here, the Water Tribe member stopped descending and walked straight into the interior of this level. He leaned against the wall and approached a door. This door was entirely carved from fire jade, adorned with lifelike depictions of flames. Just approaching it evoked a sensation of burning heat. The Water Tribe member gestured towards the empty space before the door, and a crack appeared. Only then did the fire-wielding Water Tribe member push it open. The moment the door opened, a blast of cold air hit them. Caught off guard, Sun Wukong almost had his body invaded by the chilling energy. He hastily mobilized his entire spiritual power to defend against injury from the cold. Even so, Sun Wukong felt a bone-chilling coldness wash over him. What incredibly frigid object was inside that room? The mere leakage of cold air was already so potent. Soon, Sun Wukong found out. Following the Water Tribe member into the room, his gaze was immediately drawn to a pool of ice, Hantan. The pool was bottomlessly deep. Wisps of cold energy emanated from it, transforming into various creatures in midair, sometimes swimming fish, sometimes spirit turtles, full of vitality. This sight held a vastly different meaning for Sun Wukong.
Even the cold energy can take shape. This Hantan possesses abundant spiritual nature. It's likely close to cultivating its own form.
Great sage, wait here a moment. I'll be right back,
said the Water Tribe member, controlling Bashin En. He walked to the edge of the Hantan and casually placed Bashin En into the icy pool. Sun Wukong, observing from afar, was about to speak when he saw Bashin En erupt in a crimson glow within the Hantan. The light instantly morphed into 8 strange flames of varying sizes. Simultaneously, the cold air surrounding the 8 flames was drawn towards them, entering strand by strand. As the flames absorbed the cold energy, their colors gradually brightened. It seemed Bashin En was using the Hantan to cultivate his own innate abnormal fire, a truly peculiar method. Cultivators of fire attribute techniques typically sought places of extreme fire for cultivation or healing. Yet, Bashin En took the opposite path, entering a pool of extreme cold to recover. It appeared Bashin En's understanding of ice and fire had reached an incredibly terrifying level. Fire transforming into ice converting to fire, all within a single thought. If not for the exceedingly strange metal attribute Divine Stone within his own body, perhaps he would have been the one severely injured today. After arranging Bashin En, the Water Tribe member walked towards Sun Wukong. Standing before him, he bowed slightly and said,
"Allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is Marinus, a war general of the Water Tribe, and also a good brother to Bashin En. Though he is heavily injured, it's not critical. Perhaps this severe injury might even lead to a breakthrough in his cultivation. Now, let's ascend. All the answers lie at the very top."
Sun Wukong, seedy, little, his heart burning with anxiety. Following Marinus, Sun Wukong entered the central area of the Ice Demon Tower, the empty space.
Soon, a pillar of golden light will descend here. We must ride this golden light upwards. But be warned, the higher you go, the greater the resistance from the golden light, but the greater the benefits received as well. As for what benefits, I am unsure. You will know shortly. Remember, you absolutely must not give up. If you quit, there will be no second chance.
Though doubts weighed heavier on his mind, the worry for Flower Fruit Mountain and his monkey subjects clearly overshadowed everything else. Just then, a tangible pillar of golden light shot down from the ceiling, a golden column piercing through the entire ice demon tower. Without hesitation, Sun Wukong leaped in. The moment he entered the golden light's range, an immense force struck him. Caught unprepared, he was pushed down several jang by the light. This made his face flush red, silently cursing himself for underestimating this golden light. Although Marinus had warned him, relying on his powerful physique, he hadn't paid much attention, thus suffering a small setback upon entry. However, Sun Wukong possessed the strength of a mid-rank saint and the body of a high-rank saint. This pressure posed no real threat. Exerting force with his feet, he instantly stabilized himself. Then, with an aerial dive, he charged deeper into the golden light, vanishing in an instant. Yet Marinus did not enter the golden pillar. Instead, he watched with eyes full of anticipation before turning and leaving. By now, Sun Wukong had been within the golden light for over 20 breaths. Only then did he start to feel the strain, like a carp swimming upstream. The higher he went, the greater the resistance. But he couldn't give up. He could only press forward continuously, or failure would be imminent. Feeling the pressure intensify, Sun Wukong gritted his teeth and unleashed his full spiritual power. Vast energy erupted from beneath his feet, like two flames of spiritual energy, providing him with greater propulsion. The pressure around him lessened, and Sun Wukong's speed surged once more. But after 40 breaths, Sun Wukong felt the pressure suddenly double. Even with his spiritual power fully mobilized, his ascent gradually slowed. He estimated he would come to a complete stop in about 5 more breaths. Looking up, the end still seemed out of sight. Sun Wukong immediately summoned the wind-fire wheels, holding nothing back. The wind-fire wheels ignited at full power, supplemented by the surging spiritual energy, and Sun Wukong's speed surpassed even his earlier peak. 50 breaths, 60 breaths, 65 breaths, 69 breaths. Finally, Sun Wukong felt the pressure again, and this time it was immense. He felt as though the surrounding golden light had solidified, becoming the hardest substance in existence. Facing such tremendous resistance, Sun Wukong's spiritual power began to deplete rapidly. 74 breaths, spiritual power halved. 78 breaths, 1/3 remaining. 82 breaths, only 1/5 of his peak power left. Sun Wukong knew that at this rate, in at most 3 more breaths, his spiritual power would be exhausted, and he would fall. Yet he hadn't reached the summit. Without reaching the top, he couldn't learn the whereabouts of his monkey kin, nor understand why Flower Fruit Mountain was here. He couldn't give up, couldn't surrender. If he didn't risk it all, besides, it wouldn't kill him, at worst just severe injuries. As long as he wasn't dead, it was all worth it. With this thought, Sun Wukong decisively began to activate the metal attribute Divine Stone within his body. Instantly, a colossal surge of metal attribute spiritual power erupted, even forming a pointed protective shield of spiritual energy around him. His nearly depleted spiritual power was rapidly replenished by the metal attribute energy, only to begin draining at a terrifying rate again. Under this cycle of input and output, Sun Wukong felt no discomfort. Furthermore, as the metal attribute spiritual energy flowed through his body, the Divine Stone showed faint signs of merging with him. This sent Sun Wukong into ecstatic joy. Ever since obtaining the metal attribute Divine Stone, he had sought ways to refine it, but the stone was incredibly stubborn. After so long, it showed no sign of dissolving. Only during life or death crises would it autonomously release immense spiritual power to save him. Later, Sun Wukong gradually learned to consciously activate the stone to wield its vast power. However, if the energy was released for too long, the metal attribute's spiritual power would cause severe damage to his body. Thus, he had just made a great resolve to use this power. Subconsciously, Sun Wukong felt the divine stone wouldn't let him die. Otherwise, it wouldn't have always saved him at critical moments. That's why he was prepared for severe injury when activating it. But he hadn't expected that the need to expend spiritual power for flight would inadvertently create a balance between the input and output of the metal attribute energy. Sun Wukong acted like a converter. Although prolonged channeling of metal attribute spiritual power damaged his meridians, he was also unintentionally absorbing the fundamental stone essence of the divine stone. Just as Sun Wukong rejoiced at the potential fusion with the divine stone, the stone, as if sensing his thoughts, abruptly stopped supplying energy. This sudden cessation caused Sun Wukong's ascending form to halt abruptly in mid-air. Just as he thought he would fall, a sharp pain shot through his head, and he immediately lost consciousness, fainting. At this moment, in a dimly lit ice chamber, upon a jade bed carved from ice crystal, a figure suddenly appeared. The person lay motionless on the jade bed, clearly unconscious. Simultaneously, an old man in gray robes materialized following a spatial distortion. Observing closely, the old man had white hair and a white beard, yet his spirit was vigorous, his eyes gleaming brightly, clearly an extremely formidable expert. Upon appearing, the old man hurried to the jade bedside, quickly checking for breath. Finding the figure merely unconscious, he breathed a long sigh of relief, then slumped to the ground without any regard for his image. Then, like a child, he began to wail.
Heaven has not forsaken my demon race. My water tribe has guarded this place for nearly 10,000 years, and finally it was not in vain. The hope of the demon race has truly appeared. Aha! And he could persist flying within the primeval purifying light for 100 breaths. I fear this person's future achievements will transcend this world. My demon race is destined for great prosperity.